better run, you better do what you can. Don't wanna see no, but don't be a metal man. You wanna be top, better do what you can. So pretty, but you wanna be big, just pretty. No one want to be defeated.
Shockloaf here again, and no, that was not me singing in the intro. But welcome back to another episode of the 1200 Films Podcast, where, of course, I am trying to set the Guinness record. In case you forgot, the Guinness record for the most films watched in one calendar year, trying to surpass that 1132 with the full 1200, and review all of them right here on YouTube. And I was looking at Netflix DVDs that came in for the year to see how many DVDs I've rented this year from Netflix. Over 200. The 500 plus that I've watched this year, over 200 have been DVDs. So that's it's a lot of DVDs coming in your mailbox. But just when I think I'm just about out of good movies, I find a big slew of little hidden gems that I'll be getting into later. But let's get going. This was not a hidden gem. Number 501, Vampire Bat. This film is public domain. This film is as much yours as it is mine, as it is anyone else's. You can copy this film off anything and sell it on the street legally. And if you do see someone selling it, do not buy it, because it's not very good. It's from the 30s. It's called Vampire Bat. Everything about this old movie is bad, pretty much. There's this killings going on, and they accuse the town crazy, and it wasn't the town crazy after they murder him. And then it turns out to be this guy doing experiments on people, and that backfires. And yeah, just not a very good film. It's not that the story was bad; it's just everything else was bad. Audio was bad, the dialogue was bad, it was just a bad made movie. So yeah, avoid that one. Number 502, Tell Me How I Die. This was interesting concept. These young people volunteer at this corporation. I know how many dozens of films have started with volunteering. But they go to this corporation to volunteer, and they all get administered this. Well, half of them do. Half of them have a placebo. But half of them get administered this drug, and it allows them to, I guess, see the future. But it has these awful side effects that doesn't really make it worth it. And things kind of spiral from there out of control, and it just... It's watchable, but it's a mess. Yeah. That's the only thing I can say about it. If I didn't learn my lesson on Vampire Bat, I went back and watched another old movie, number 503, The Flying Serpent. Holy boogly boogie, this was bad. You think the Flying Serpent, you think this giant flying thing and flying through the air and killing people by scorching them. No, this thing's about the size of a small dog. And it torpedoes you and kills you. And it's pretty much unstoppable. And this one guy keeps it in a mountain, and he has control over it, and it does its bidding. Yeah. If that sounds like your type of film, then go for it. 504, A Haunting in Georgia. Have you ever seen that show Paranormal Witness, where it kind of recaps people's paranormal encounter with recreations and then interviews with the actual people as it's doing the recreation? That's basically what this is. It's a TV movie, mostly recreations, of a family that moved into a new home, and of course it's haunted. The little girl is it's a husband, wife, and a little girl, and the little girl's having a friendly interaction with this old man entity called Mr. Gordy. And then the parents just assume Mr. Gordy's an invisible friend and don't think much of it. But then they realize Mr. Gordy used to be a person, and he lived right in that area, and he died, and now he's haunting the house. And Eventually, Mr. Gordy gets kind of phased out, and then bad entities start coming in. Because when there's an opening for one, there's an opening for others, as I've learned when these haunting shows. But, yeah. And the woman from Dead Files popped up in this. Whatever her name is. Amy something. It was surprised to see her. But, yeah, this is not... For a TV movie, it's not bad. 505... Meet Monica Velour. This film was adorable. I loved it. This was the first of the true hidden gems I talked about earlier. This nerd who's in high school has an obsession, and his current film set today, and he has an obsession with 70s porn star Monica Velour, and he collects all her movies and posters and whatever else he can get his hands on. And he finds out that Monica Velour is performing at a strip club. Even though she's middle-aged, he says, I'm going to be there. I got to see that. So he, there was a great little, I love great little dialogue parts. And he's sitting in the bar waiting for Monica to do her show. And another waitress, I guess, sits next to him for a minute. And then the nerd asks her, so what's your name? And the girl says, my name is Snickers, like the candy bar. And the nerd is like, well, at least your parents didn't name you Payday. Or Crackle. I thought that was a nice little conversation. But then he's the only one there to see Monica Velour, and she's kind of getting heckled, so he sticks up for her and gets beat up, because, that's what happens in strip clubs. Apparently. And then Monica feels bad for him, so she kind of takes him in, and they kind of form a friendship, and he's trying to help her get out of the trailer park and help her get back on her feet, and she's like, you don't understand, this is my life, stop trying to interfere. But a cute, adorable little film. Meet Monica Velour, highly recommend. 506 Revenge for Jolly. Another film where someone kills the guy's dog and he goes on a killing spree. But this was made before John Wick. Wah wah. And I dare say it's just as good. It's got Oscar Isaac and a handful of other semi-familiar people. Ryan Philippe, I think, was in this. He had a small role. But there's a scene where Oscar Isaac gets shot. There's another great piece of dialogue. He says, I got shot in the hand. This was my good hand. Now it's my bad hand. Great line. But it's a smart, funny little revenge flick, I guess. But you have to see it to really see how it compares to John Wick. But highly recommend. 507 Saboteur. This was an old Alfred Hitchcock film. This guy gets set up for killing his buddy, and there was this other guy involved that apparently didn't exist, so he goes after this other guy that doesn't exist, and it kind of goes on this cross-country chase, I guess, which is fine. The first half is better than the second half. Second half kind of wafers a bit, but still a nice movie for being old. 508 American Made, Tom Cruise, based on a true story set back in the early 80s of this guy that would work for the CIA taking pictures of the Dominican and Nicaragua and all those places, and he ends up running drugs for them, for the bad guys, I guess, the cartel, and he gets paid in like duffel bags of money, and eventually he has so much money he doesn't know what to do with it, so he buries it out in the yard, and all these banks in the town he lives in all have to open up so he can dump all his money in there because he has so much. What a nice problem to have, but of course, government gets wind of this, and the party doesn't last forever. But a very interesting film, American made. 509, Revolt, the Netflix movie. It's kind of a lower budget alien invasion, fighting back, Independence Day type, Skyline type movie. This movie could have been billed as kind of a Skyline sequel, spin-off. It's very similar. But the aliens chipped this one guy, this G.I. Joe, so that wherever he went, they could follow him, because they figured he would go towards other people. Then they would follow him and then kill the people around him, and then he would run away again and find other people. Then they would chase him and kill the people he finds next, which is a pretty good idea. So eventually he figures that out and says, we got to fight back because they're killing everyone I know. But interesting little alien movie. 510, another alien movie. Aliens Zone of Silence. Kind of a quasi-found footage movie because she's filming what's going on, but there's this guy that's helping her as she's out in the desert looking for her lost friends. And he's kind of guiding her along the way. Apparently there's a section down in Mexico. I don't know if it really exists or not, but there's a section in Mexico where people disappear and strange things happen. So that's where the friends went missing. So she goes looking for them, and of course strange things happen, as you can expect, but not bad. There's a lot of these type films, so I don't know if this was any better than the other ones, but it's fine. 511, Small Town Crime. I noticed that the credits, it said it was entirely filmed in Utah. Interesting little fact there. The main guy, I'm almost ready to learn his name. He's popped up in several films so far on just this list alone. But this cop who lost his job because he couldn't stay sober, he finds this dead hooker on the side of the street and decides to be a private investigator and help the family find out what's going on. And the cops are like, dude, step back, you're a drunk. But he's determined to find out what happened, and of course he gets involved. But yep, nice little film. 512 Rideshare, another little hidden gem found on Amazon Prime. I understand how people only watch big blockbuster, huge budget films, maybe because that's all they have time for. But sometimes when you take a chance and roll the dice, you find a real hidden gem that speaks to you. It's about this killer Uber driver. Not that I relate to be the killer, well, I kind of do, because I can understand his pain, because those of us that have worked in or currently work in customer service, there's people that rub you the wrong way, and you wish you could just, I don't know, delete them or have them go away. But this guy's finally had enough, so anyone that kind of pushes him over the line, he decides to kill. And some of his the scene where the goth guy, I guess, gets in the car, and the driver killer is like, as this guy's just blabbering on about silly stuff. But yes, you could tell a lot of love went into the making of this film. It's very low budget, but it's a wonderfully made little piece of horror work, and I love my horror. So, but yeah, highly recommend Rideshare. 513 Cruel Summer. Some of these British movies are such downers, but damn, it's based on a true story. This I guess this handicapped kid was going camping on his own for the first time, and his parents, make sure he was all ready and prepared, and so he's out there camping. And then while he's gone, these rumors start spreading around about how he apparently slept with one of the girls in town, and the guy is mad because that was his girlfriend. And so a small group of them go after him so they can teach him a lesson. And yeah, it gets, as you can guess, it gets out of hand. That's why it's made into a movie. But well made though. Interesting piece of work, but sad. 514. Tribes of Palos Verdes. Jennifer Garner, who I never cared for before this year, has 2 home runs already with Wakefield and Butter. And she hit a 3rd home run here. She was really good in this. Her and her husband relocate from Michigan to Palos Verdes in California, and it's this very uptight, high-strung community. There's very strict rules, but it's the high life. But of course, besides the husband, I guess they all kind of spiral out of control. Well, I guess the girl didn't really much. She kind of took up surfing. Then she met this famous surfer and almost got raped by him. But the boy, the brother of the girl, the surfer girl, he got involved in drugs, and Jennifer Garner just slowly lost her mind. But yet, very well made piece of work. 515. This was not a good piece of work. Unsane. This woman inadvertently enrolls herself into a mental asylum, and she's convinced that one of the orderlies there is a former stalker. So they have no reason to let her out because she's accusing this random guy of being her former stalker. But, God. Good luck staying awake for this one. That was just, it's a nothing going on movie. 516, The Murder Mansion. The opening scene was awesome because it was a car chase scene. It was the only car chase scene I've ever seen that was 100% pure bass. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. And this group of people, they can't go anywhere because the fog's so bad, so they abandon their vehicles and find this old mansion with a light on. It's very reminiscent of, Rocky Horror. Yes, and then they all get in there, and it turns into a murder mystery with ghosts. Absolutely nothing special. 517, second best. Joe Pantoliano, some might know from Sopranos. Boy, the first 30 minutes of this were so slow. I had to check to see how far I was in this film, and I thought it must be at least an hour. This film's got to be winding up. Nope, 30 minutes in. But the second half was better than that start. Basically, he's a lovable loser, and he's looking for his big break. He's trying to write screenplays and be a famous writer, and he writes about his friends, and he posts it wherever. Then his friends get a hold of this and realize he's writing about them, and then some of it's not so kind, so he has to kind of mend those fences as he's going along, trying to get his big break. But, yeah, it's just okay. 518, Under the Bed. Not so okay. This was bad horror. If you ever seen that little, I guess, 80s movie? Maybe early 90s, called Little Monsters? Had Fred Savage and Howie Mandel, and about these cute little monsters that were hiding under the bed, scaring kids, and they realized that the monsters weren't so bad, and the kids go down there and hang out with the monsters and befriend the monsters. It's kind of what this is, but the monsters aren't so nice. They're actually really, really evil. But other than that, it just kind of progresses, and eventually these monsters under the bed are playing for keeps, and these kids got to fight back. All 7-year-old and 10-year-old, and but yeah, nothing special. 519, this was nice. Husk. This was a group of 4 people, 4 teenagers, and their car gets totaled by kamikaze crows next to this cornfield, so they start poking through the cornfield and find this old house that hasn't been used in a while, and of course there's a dark history, but and apparently the scarecrows are out to get you. And then you discover the backstory of why the scarecrows are killers, and yeah, creepy. But it's another one. It's another one where the kids were out looking for a house, and of course, again, they see a house with an old dark house with the light on. Moving on, 520, we go from Husk to Howl. This was 2015, and I don't know how I'd never heard about this movie. This movie was excellent. About this train that breaks down in the middle of this forested area, and gets kind of attacked by this giant werewolf. This werewolf is no joke. He is huge and out for business. And yeah, and then people get bit, and it starts to break in, and these people are fighting for their lives, and yeah, very interesting. I don't know what else to say about it. But yeah, that's about it, really. The ending was not great, but the first 85% of the film is very, very, very good. I take that back because of 2013 Howl. But moving on, 521, Fertile Ground. This was made by the same company that did Husk, so I figured I'd give it another shot. This couple is moving out of the big city into a secluded little cabin, and of course, things go wrong. They find a skull out in the yard, and they find there's a dark history with the house, as many people have been killed, mostly women. And then the woman of the house discovers there's a link. All these people are dying in similar ways on certain days, and of course that certain day is coming soon, so she's worried she's gonna get offed. So that's kind of where it goes. But watchable. 522, Craters of the Moon. This movie made me late for work. Usually I watch like episodes of something like Family Guy or something, half hours, while I'm eating my breakfast, and then when it's over, I was like, okay, it's time to comb my hair and yada 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 and go to work. Well, when you're watching a movie, the movie just keeps going because we have a lot left. And when this movie was picking up, should have been getting ready for work, but I was hypnotized by how good it was getting, and it made me late. So, but it was this couple. They're out in the middle of nowhere in the frozen tundra, and their car breaks down, of course. And they're limited food, and the car will not move. They try everything to get that car out of the snow, and they're just stuck in the middle of nowhere, and no one's coming by. So they've made a few attempts to hoof it to the nearby mountains and see if there's anything around, and they discover there's something around, and it's called giant wolves. So they go back to their car, and eventually they start starving and getting sick of each other because they're cooped up in this little car together, which would make, anyone would get sick of the person you're with. But this is based on a true story too. But yeah, if I see anything more, I'll be giving things away, so I'll stop there. But yeah, very good movie. Available on Amazon. Amazon has a hidden treasure trove of wonderful little movies you probably have not heard of. Netflix does too, but I've already discovered most of those. I haven't had Amazon quite as long, so they're more new to me. 523, The Task, another one from the group that did Fertile Ground and Husk. It's this fake reality show set in a prison, and they're trying to scare all these teenagers in there, and of course there's someone in there that's not supposed to be in there that's killing off the kids one by one. He looks like a twisted Nazi, I guess. Apparently he was the old prison warden that was crooked and then murdered in the jail, but he looks like a Nazi. But just okay. 524, Summer Camp. God, had the kid from Kick-Ass. I can almost remember his name, Aaron Taylor or something. But this movie was not good. Not at all. These kids, 4 in a group, and they mess around with this weird dog, and one gets bit, and they start zombie vampire rabies disease type. It comes and goes, which makes no sense, and it passes from person to person just kind of like on a whim, which also doesn't make any sense. So you don't really know what's going on or what they're trying to fight, because it comes and goes. It's like a cold. It's just here 1 second and 525, The Spinning Man. This was good. Guy Pearce, underrated actor. He has some kind of short-term memory problem, which they don't really discuss much, but it's there, obviously. But he's got a family, and then this young teenage girl goes missing, and the cops start honing in on Guy Pearce because they know he was in the area, and then more and more clues build up, and he is certain he didn't do this, but he's not sure because he can't remember because his memory's bad. But he doesn't feel that he's the type that would kill. So what do you do? And all the evidence kind of leads to you. But yeah, interesting. And it's also got Pierce Brosnan played the lead investigator, and he was excellent too. This was a really well acted, well made little film. But yep, that's enough for now. The next one, the next group, we got one called Wildlike. Netflix movie called Tau, T-A-U, or yeah, looks like an interesting science fiction. And then one called Caliber, another Netflix movie. And so we'll be warming up the Netflix. Until next time.